Hello, everybody, once again. And before I start, I'm sure that many of you have heard about Sputnik, about our media, but just in case you haven't, I want to share a short video with you about who we are.
Sputnik is a global multimedia news and radio broadcaster. We operate in over 30 languages worldwide. With 25 multifunctional hubs, we employ numerous local journalists. Our extensive network of correspondents spans the entire globe. This allows us to swiftly deliver exclusive reports, breaking news, and unique footage straight from the scene, all presented by our virtual hosts without breaks or days off. Sputnik provides fast, accurate, and up-to-the-minute coverage. This is why our content attracts around 20 million views daily. Our global radio audience exceeds 210 million listeners. Sputnik broadcasts in English, French, Arabic, Spanish, Portuguese, Turkish, Persian, and Serbian. We are the only international media outlet active on Iranian radio. We have more followers on Weibo than all Western rivals combined. In Turkey, no other radio station offers as many original programs as Sputnik. In Serbia, Sputnik outshines all other news media in citations. Sputnik India provides content in Hindi and English, with over 9 million views on X Weekly. Our correspondents in Moscow and New Delhi work tirelessly to deliver in-depth analyses and exclusive stories to you daily. Our posts gather millions of views and comments on social media and make major Indian media talk about us.
As our voice is getting louder across the globe, we will continue telling the untold.
Okay, thank you. Now you know a little bit more about us. And I would like to start with thanking NewsX for organizing this outstanding event and for the chance to meet so many outstanding persons here, and of course to boost people-to-people ties between Russia and India. Well, in the past several years, our two countries have made incredible progress together. And the BRICS summit in Russia's city of Kazan in 2022 once again proved the strong ties between our leaders and made the headlines around the world. Sputnik aims to be the driving force behind the Indo-Russian partnership. We launched Sputnik India back in December 2022, and since that time we got millions of views and built a strong team of journalists both in New Delhi and in Moscow. Well, today, the mass media industry is experiencing major shifts that require completely new approaches. Our news consumption has transformed completely. People today prefer to get news in shortened formats and videos. This is happening because we're exposed to such a vast amount of information daily that people simply get tired of news and seek the quickest and the simplest way to get informed. Since our attention spans are shorter than ever, the content that is quick to engage and easy to digest is more likely to capture and retain viewer interest. This is especially crucial for so-called Generation Z, from 18 to 30 years old, who consume content in bite-sized pieces mostly. This is why Sputnik tries to make even complex topics and analysis suitable for social media. For example, long reads and analysis now are transformed into X threads. Our long podcasts with guests are cut into smaller videos and posted as either Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts, like teasers. Memes are the perfect way to present news from a Russian or Indian point of view. Telegram and WhatsApp messengers allow us to spread certain news across channels, making them viral, and infographics help us accommodate a vast amount of information just in one picture. That's amazing. Well, today, major social media news channels use infotainment as an alternative to traditional hard news. And Sputnik uses it in order to attract younger audiences who spend most of their time online. Sputnik India was probably one of the first major media outlets who started to use memes as a news tool. They make content more shareable and relatable for this Generation Z. Often such memes don't even require translation. For example, we use popular Bollywood movies or simply universally known pop culture references to promote our agenda. I will show you one. The example. This is about how USSR helped India in 1971. And these memes actually got millions of views and hundreds of comments on Sputnik's accounts. And what is the most important about that these memes always have a hidden message. We use jokes to explain politics to people indirectly. This way, they don't feel like a certain political agenda is being imposed on them. At the same time, memes give our readers a sense of belonging, so they're most likely to visit our page and check what else we have. Here, where they see that we provide also serious content. So I guess we simply found a perfect balance between infotainment and hard news that is important. Well, actually, speaking about technology, I believe we should embrace the opportunities the digital era gives us. Because thanks to that, we can do a lot of things that like 20 or even 10, even 5 years ago, we couldn't imagine, like journalists. I think my colleagues will share this point of view because it's amazing how we can do very difficult work that before took hours just in 1 minute. We perform text-to-speech conversation, add AI voiceovers to video, do the translations, transcriptions, and even these virtual presenters, these are my favorite things. No vacation, no salary, perfect workers. So, and let me show you the example of how Sputnik uses AI to generate digital avatars. We have a very famous philosopher, Alexander Dugin, and he has no time to do his program weekly, but we decided to make him artificial.
The events that took place in the United States after Donald Trump's presidential election victory والتنصيب ونقل السلطة تشير إلى أن que somos testigos de un proceso veloz de una revolución conservadora en Estados Unidos. Değerler sistemi önceki yönüne neredeyse taban tabana zıt bir yönde değişiyor. ट्रंप और उनकी टीम जिन सिद्धांतों की घोषणा करते हैं, साथ ही पहले कदम जो वे उठा रहे हैं, contredisent complètement l'idéologie libérale de gauche. يهم يا عالم عقفاوي ويانا يا زنبالي يا سلة انا يا درجة مسرتنا.
Actually, he speaks 4 languages, but for Sputnik now, he speaks more than 15. Okay, I have just 30 seconds left, and yes, of course, there are many risks about AI technologies and journalism, and I hope to discuss it with my colleagues a bit later. But what I want to add is that, you can like the technologies, or you cannot, but AI and all the stuff is here to stay. And digital media has created a world where public opinion can be shaped just from smartphones, and we can see it daily how Trump or Elon Musk do that. But what we should do together is to decide how to use it to our advantage, and that's why the conferences like that are so important, because only together we can develop the mechanism to regulate tech and use it for benefits of mass media. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olga. In fact, that is what we are going to be discussing now. The topic is next in media, but I think we're already living in the age of next in media, as Olga also explained. This is really the age of social media, where the traditional media is learning to come to grips with the very ever-changing world. So today we're going to be discussing with the panelists the changing dynamics of the rules of engagement. How do we do within a very interactive, participatory, and real-time news that it keeps breaking. And also, in mainstream media, we have, of course, editorial control. Here, everyone with a cell phone is the journalist, is the part of the media. So there are no checks and balances. What happens in that kind of a world? On the one hand, it is democratization of news. On the other hand, you do get victimized by fake news. You get the algorithm bias. There are fake narratives. There is no control, really. So in that sense, Pranjal, I'll begin with you first. How are we coping, and what next? What are the next steps do we have to take? Is there going to be regulation, transparency, self-regulation? Where are we headed?
Okay, thank you, Priya. And thank you, Olga. That was very brilliant. And I must say that I'm a great fan of what Sputnik has been doing. Very excellent way in which you are communicating complex issues. And I think that's really the future. That's the first trend that we have to understand, that news is getting democratized. It's no longer going to be held by a few editors sitting in the so-called ivory towers. The second big shift I see is that Western media is not global media. It used to be a time that media based in Americas and Europe would decide the narrative for the world, and we would all lap it up like it was the absolute gospel truth. And I think that's not true anymore. You see the rise of media in India, you see the rise and the relevance of media from Russia, you see the rise of media in East Asia, and I think that's very important for us to understand that it's no longer a unipolar world in media as well. It is a multipolar world in media where every region will decide what is relevant for them and not be taken in only by what a set of editors are deciding.
You're getting a very approving look from here, by the way.
So, no, but I mean, I'll stop here. I mean, I have a few more points, but I think the final point is about technology. You referred to it, Olga and Priya. So there's a great point about technology, that it allows you to do a lot of things faster. It also allows and gives the power of ground level reporting to a lot of citizens, but also the negative part is that it can also create fake, misleading news. So we need new set of filters to be able to manage information in the era of AI.
So, Olga, I'd like you to take from what he said also the fact that global media is no longer Western media. I mean, at a time where you yourself, Sputnik Radio, is facing sanctions from the Biden-Harris administration. So how do you feel the fact that democratization in many more ways than one?
Sorry, once again.
The democratization of media, you know, and also what he's saying is that Western media is from what we see, Western media is no longer just Western media. Global media is now, you know, we have people from the East, Southeast Asia who also now getting their say.
You know, the main problem that I see in all this is that the lack of platforms, because many countries are still the colonies of Western media markets and mainstream media, and I think that as we have, for example, BRICS with India, media, why can't we have our own platforms, so our own social media, where we can do what is supposed to be the best way to give the information for people, for example. Because I think that the basic rules of journalism are the same for India, for Russia, for the US, or any other countries. That's balance, verifying news, fact-checking, and for us in Sputnik, it's very important to give the balance and sometimes alternative point of view when the balance is not so well represented. Well, and speaking about the measures that news outlets should take, the risks of AI. Yeah, I think that it's very important to navigate these risks together and to decide together what to do. For example, it should be obliged to mark AI content on the social media platforms, I guess, and verify images, photos, and videos, and rely only on first-hand information that is basic.
Okay. So risk of risk of AI, algorithm bias. How do we counter that?
One of the things which Gen AI is doing is allowing almost anybody to be a writer and an author, but we have to realize that the era of search-based, link-based research or reporting is pretty much over. Because what the Gen AI bots are doing, they're gathering information from every available resource. They don't tell you what the source is, but they'll give you a summary of what's going on. So it could be based on outdated information. It could be based on malified sources. So we don't know. So there has to be, and that's why I want to dwell on this. In the era of AI, news gathering, information needs a new set of filters. Editors were the filters in the traditional media, mainstream media, in news, in print, in television and radio. But today, you need a new set of filters. These filters will either have to be algorithms or people who are overseeing what the algorithm is doing. If you do not put a new set of filters, then we will be pushed into an era of such haze that we won't know the truth from the falsehoods.
Well, but we have Photoshop for ages, and these pictures changed by Photoshop. I think that we saw millions of them, like in past, 10 years maybe, and I don't think that this AI thing has more risks. Actually, my grandmother told me that the mobile phone was dangerous. Like
true, Olga, but
years ago, so that's the same.
If you see, some of the Western media has a narrative and propaganda when they want to push. They will take photographs in a certain way, which shows that, for example, something happening in India in a completely different light. So propaganda and narrative and falsehoods have always been there as part of the tool.
That's why I'm saying that we should rely only on first-hand information, because many Western news agencies, they prefer just to be the third part that is talking about something that they are not sure about. That's why Sputnik, for example, we have dozens of bureaus around the world, so we can check very quickly any video, any photo, and that's why I'm proud to say that our information is 100% verified and checked.
Because there's a platform. That is the difference between, a platform which is almost mainstream media. You come with a brand. At least this is Sputnik is saying this. But here, anybody with a mobile phone is a journalist. How do you counter that?
This will happen. There'll be a process. See, even the credible media organizations today, when they began, people didn't know them. It is over years and decades that they built credibility. And those who did not build credibility, they were not respected and they lost the market. Individuals who are also doing similar work, whether on YouTube or others, over a while, there will be a situation where the genuine ones will survive and the ones which are fake will fall away. But it's not as easy as it should be, because some of the ones who are online also have a lot of backing. They are pushed, and some of the exposes that we see from USAID, we see how money was channeled into fake media outlets, people who are propped up only to push propaganda. So online allows that at scale. It isn't that it wasn't earlier, but it allows that at scale. It is allowing a lot of countries to meddle and influence the thinking of open democratic societies. So technology is enabling it, but we still have to figure out a way, and I don't think we have the answer yet, on what is the best framework to prevent it.
Is the way self-regulation, or should there be some, do you want the regulation to be enforced, or should it come from within?
Well, I think that the sources of news should be chosen properly, and that's the main thing what I'm talking about.
Well, ground level reporting is still required. One of the things that we don't have, we need to invest in, is people and reporters on the ground looking at what's going on and reporting without a bias or agenda. And then you need structures to be able to disseminate that, again, without bias or agenda.
We're living in the world of views. So I want to ask a question. When there is something which is totally, wrong, this thing. So do you give this hand, one hand, or the other hand, or you go out and you call it out and say this is wrong? Or will you still give the other point of view?
We're journalists. We shouldn't have, we shouldn't give our own point of view. We should give all the point of views and give the people opportunity to decide who is wrong, what to think, and just to take their own opinion about everything. That's our job, main job, I think.
News versus views, what is your...
I think news and views. People now want perspective, not just information, because facts can be twisted. Therefore, you need facts with context. And I think that's going to be the way ahead, especially if you look at the younger generation of consumers. They do not have any respect for legacy media. They want information, and I think that's why I complimented you, Olga, that the way you are presenting news, the 1971 episode with that Game of Thrones meme was brilliant, because it gives enough information for the younger audience to want to know more about what went on.
So which helps, because you are actually making it more alive, real-time, finding real-time examples, something to make a direct connect, because your audience also has a 2-second attention span.
Sure, it's more like understandable for young people, young generation, and well, for old people, these memes, they don't work. Yeah.
So there is, as we were saying, what next? So I think the age of next is the social media and 2-minute reels like this, right?
Well, I can't even imagine what's next, because I told that even 5 years ago, I couldn't imagine that we can translate, do subtitles and so on in just 1 minute, and that AI Alexander Dugin will talk 15 languages just in 30 seconds. Okay.
I think the next thing, Priya, just to close, is we need to have more collaboration in the global south on media. We have to collaborate at BRICS level. We have to collaborate in media on a lot of non-Western platforms to make sure that we are in control of the narrative of what's happening in our part of the world.
Thank you both for this conversation, and I would also like to welcome the very articulate Smriti Irani is here. I think she's seen both sides of the media, so she would know something of what we're talking about. But thank you both for this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.